Hello and welcome back. This is your friend Stone Warden back with episode 4 of Minecraft Exploration. So today is the day I finally make good on the promise. I was just kidding in the last episode with that starter house. Today is the day we stop sleeping out under the stars, unless we want to. But we're going to stop sleeping out in the open because by the end of the episode, we will have our very own home right here. Okay, so as far as a starter home build tutorial, what I've done is gone ahead and sort of cleared out the area here that I want to build in. I decided in between episodes that this would look a little bit better with a retaining wall and some light. And so what I did was sort of put in some smoky lampstands, torch braziers, if you will, and nothing fancy. Basically, it's just some stone with campfires in the top and some trapdoors to make it look like those fires are contained. So that gives us a little bit of light for the area, not a ton, but it also sort of gives it that industrial feel. Hey, there's a mine, there's smoke, things are happening, things are getting, things are cooking, right? Things are going on here, and so that was the idea behind the lamppost. Now, as far as a build, here's how I do it. I know everyone does it a little bit differently, but what I like to do is to start with at least an approximate size. So do I want my build to be big? Do I want it to be small? Is it something that I want to be a very specific size? So when we're building a farm, what I'll often do is build the farm and then build the building around it to make sure that the building is big enough to house the farm. For the home, basically I just wanted to decide about how big that I wanted it, and this is 11 by 11. That's square. So as I said in the previous episode, square homes are, sort of boring. So what I do is I start with the square or a rectangle, and then I add little features onto it. What I like to do is lay it out on the ground and then build up. So basically what I do before I do any build is this is going to be a very familiar setup. Okay, I like to have a bed just in case I need to sleep. That's my travel bed. And I'll bring over and put a chest with things that I think I might want or need for the build. And then of course a crafting table and a what's that thing called? Stone cutter. Yeah. So, I always have this set up right next to the build because there's nothing worse than, working on the build and then having to run off somewhere else to get a couple of pieces of stone through the stone cutter. And so let's go ahead and hop in the bed and then we'll start the build. All right, good morning. So, for the build, one of the things that I would encourage you, if you're new to Minecraft or even intermediate, is to sort of think about what sort of blocks look good next to each other. And by that I mean sort of a palette, if you will. So what kind of colors look good? You don't want too many colors. You don't want too few. You don't want all kinds of crazy stuff, but then you don't want it to be boring either. So there's kind of a middle ground that we can sort of work in there and find a nice balance. So as far as the palette's concerned, this is what I was thinking for the new house, right? So maybe you've got the gray, silvery texture there with the stone brick. You got some cobblestone, deep slate, and then this is spruce wood that's been stripped. And then this is a spruce trapdoor as well. So I think these colors are sort of basic. They give off good starter home vibes, but then they also work well together. And then the last thing that I would add, I've collected some copper. And of course, when you have copper, you can put that into a block, run that back through a stone cutter, and you get the variants. Some of these variants are pretty new. The problem with copper is that over time it will oxidize. Basically what that means is it turns green. So just like copper in real life, it will absolutely turn green. And so when I place this down and build it today, it's going to be this coppery color. Over time, it's going to turn green. And I know a lot of people like this color, but what I'm looking for is the green oxidized color. I think that goes really well with that cobbled deep slate. So I'm going to be placing a little bit of copper on the build today as well. All right, so to start, I think what I want to do is a foundation with this cobbled deep slate. And then I'm going to go stone bricks above that. So what I like to do is go ahead and just start with the foundation, build my boring square, and then liven it up a little bit. So what do I mean by liven it up a little bit? Okay, basic boring house here, but what I'm going to do is first and foremost, I'm going to make this the front door. And so any good front door is going to have a little bit of a front porch, an entryway, if you will. So let me count over to the middle. Okay, so there's our porch. Door is going to go right here. What I also want to add into this is a couple of areas. I think one over here to this side. What I want to do is sort of bring this out, and that will give me room to put a little, a little nook here with a window. Over here, I'm going to bring this one out too. Yeah. So that's what the basic shape of the house is going to have. I'm going to have window here, sort of a popped out bay window back there in the back. We're going to have an entryway, doorway, front porch here, and then maybe like a little nook with a window over there as well. So this is the start. Now, one of the things that you could do is sort of curve some of the edges and maybe add, but I want this to be extremely basic and give off those sort of starter house vibes, which to me look a lot like the villager houses off in the distance there. However, I already have the materials, the nice materials that I like to use, like spruce and deep slate, so it's very hard not to use those, on the build. Okay, so since we're building this from the floor up, what I'm going to do is bring this in for one more layer and then put in a floor. And of course the floor will adjust it a little bit later as we go. But one of my tips for building is just do it. Just throw stuff down, and eventually it's easier to make small adjustments to something than it is to just overthink it before you actually do anything. So I'm going to do one of these really expensive oak wood floors. I really love the texture of these. All right, and beautiful. So that has some sort of wood grain vibes to it for the floor, which I really love, and I love the alternating pattern. So gives it some life, some texture, and I really do love that. So what I'm going to do now is bring that out at least 3 more blocks over here probably. And that's what my base layer looks like. So from the outside, we'll be able to see this sort of dark cobblestone foundation, if you will. And from the inside, we'll have the nice texture with the oak wood floor. What I'll do next is bring the beams up on the outside of the build. So kind of come off the corner. And then strip all those. All right, for the walls, I want to do stone bricks and maybe even stone brick variants. So, since I don't have silk touch on a pickaxe yet, I don't have stone. I have to cook it all up into back into stone. So when you break it with a normal pickaxe, it turns into cobblestone, and then you cook it with coal or whatever, and it turns back into regular stone. Then you can take that stone, run it through a stone cutter, And what we'll get is the stone bricks, and then we can take those stone bricks, put them back into the furnace again, and we get these cracked stone bricks, all in the effort to give us a little bit of variation in the build and how it looks. So there are two schools of thought here. We can either do the variants as we go, or what I often do with a build, especially when this small, is just go ahead and throw in all the stone bricks and then come back in and switch them out later for cracked stone bricks or mossy stone bricks, or maybe even a cobblestone here or there to give it that look that maybe it's broken a little bit or worn down a little bit. So grab stone into the stone cutter, stone bricks, boom, that easy. There's our doorway. We'll come back and change that at a later date and time. Okay, so I had envisioned in this build sort of a big window here, and the reason for that is west, and whenever it's nighttime, you can come and sleep. Whenever it's nighttime, we can come and sleep in the bed, and it's okay. We're not going to waste it. But we can come and sleep in the bed and put a bed right here. And then when we do that, we'll have at least a little bit of the sunset, maybe going on in the background there. Not the best view for a sunset here, but still, that's kind of my idea. So what I wanted to do was maybe make a window, maybe 5 by 5 here. I find building in survival a little bit more difficult, of course. It's part of the fun, I think, is building in survival, is because it's tough. You can't just fly around. So that's sort of the window that I had envisioned. Although, now that I'm looking at it, it really could be one wider. Okay, so I think that looks a lot better wider like that. So I'm going to leave that sort of big and open there on that end. Probably do something a little bit smaller right here, but very similar. So... And again, popping these windows out off of, so here's the wall, and then having the window come out gives us a little bit more depth on the build. Different depths there. It just looks a little bit better to me. Okay, so there's window 1 and window 2. Since I'm getting this set up, I'm going to go ahead and put some light in here. That's not the final resting place for those torches. However... last thing I want is to run over here, sleep, and actually have something bad spawn in here. Alright, that's coming along nicely, and I think what I want to do is one more window right over here. Okay, looking good, looking good, looking good. Okay, now, so... what I want to do now that I have sort of the wooden supports and the window in here is I want to start bringing the walls up. However, I do want to add some smaller windows into the build. I want it to feel open, have lots of light, and I'm going to kill myself. I'm used to building with boots that have feather falling on them, and so falling down is not that big of a deal. However, yeah, I'm not wearing any armor right now, so whenever I fall, it's a massive deal. With the walls in, this is sort of what we're looking at here. Sort of 2x2 windows on the front, the bigger windows on either side. I think that's going to look okay. What I'm going to do to make things look a little bit better on the front is put planter boxes for flowers right here. And that's a pretty easy fix. Basically what I like to do is just sort of throw some spruce trapdoors, and then we can plant flowers right in there. And so they look like those little planter boxes, old school planter boxes that went under the windowsill. So to make these look a little bit better, a little bit more realistic, maybe throw some supports under them like that. That way we can still see the dark of the deep slate poking through, but we've got the wood detail on the front, which looks good to me. We'll have to figure out this flat transition here in just a little bit, but I'm loving the way that front is looking already. Throw a bed right there. Then we can put some stuff over here, like make a little nightstand, you know, whatever we want to do next to that. But then, you know, kind of have that window right there behind the bed. That way when we sleep, boom. Actually, if we put the bed here, when we sleep, we will see that way. Let's do that. Yeah. We'll do that. We'll make this a little bed area, and then we'll be able to, when we sleep, we'll lay this way and see the whole house. Probably none of the sunset, but that's okay. We'll work on that for the next house. All right, so that's foundation and walls. What needs to come next is the roof. And of course, the roof, I don't know how it is for you all, but the roof for me is always a super duper difficult thing to do. So yeah, I'm not done detailing that either, but let's go ahead and start on the roof and let's go from there. So so we don't have any scaffolding. We haven't talked about that yet. What I usually use, and you've seen me use so far in this episode, is basically just dirt scaffolding. And so what I'll do is sort of pick a corner, if you will, maybe here, and build a temporary staircase up to the roof. I'll dig all this out later when we're done, but this way I'll be able to get up and down off of the roof without having to take a bunch of damage every time. So, yep, that's another tip right there. Get you some dirt scaffolding. And that way you can climb up to the top and not have to take any damage. Alright, so typically for the roof, what I like to do is sort of have an outline material, an outline block, and then have another material that sort of operates as the shingles for the roof, if you will. So for this build, since it's 1.21 and we've gotten all the new copper variants, I wanted to throw some copper in there as the edge or the outline of the roof, if you will. And then what I was thinking was deep slate tiles for the shingles, because they give off a really, you know, sort of a asphalt shingle vibe to me. So those are the two materials that I've been planning on using here for this build for the roof. Again, letting that copper oxidize so that it turns green. So it'll start off this color, and then as the series slowly progresses, it will turn greener and greener every time you tune in to see an episode. But that's by design. That's the way I like it. I wish we could start with straight green, but no, we have to wait for it to oxidize. So yeah, let me go ahead and start with the roof. So if you're wondering about copper, let's talk about that for just a quick second. Basically what you want to do is when you mine out copper, you get these raw copper ores. Okay, and you take those raw coppers, you put them into a furnace with some sort of fuel, and they will cook into copper ingots. And then once you have them in copper ingot form, there are a couple of recipes that use copper ingots, although not many. One of those is the door, I believe, so you can make copper doors, that sort of thing. But for building, what we want to do today is take those copper ingots, fill up all those squares, and we'll get a block of copper. And then what we'll do is we'll take the block of copper and put that into a stone cutter and use that to make the variants that we want. So I'm going to start with a few slabs. Yeah, so maybe we'll have to put something fun right here to look at when we sleep. So yeah, no worries there. No worries there. Okay. So again, deep slate. Put that in to the stone cutter. Stone cutter is your best friend when you're building, and get some slabs out of that. So let's start there. And what I like to do is sort of start with that block there, so right on top of the wood pillar on the outside, and then bring the roof out one more that direction, and out one more that direction. I'm not gonna make this a flat side because I want to put another roof line right there, but on this other side of the building it will be. Alright, so to take this further up, what I want to do is have some copper stairs as well. Okay, so this part is a little challenging. What I like to do sometimes is use temporary blocks just to make the job a little bit easier. And what I want is for the outline to be a little bit taller than the interior of the roof there. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so at this point, pretty straight diagonal line, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 staircases up with staircases underneath to sort of fill it out a little bit. But what I want to do is make the roof line a little bit more dramatic. So what I want to do is add a couple of new blocks in there. Okay, so he goes there. Yikes. Okay. And what do we think? I like it. I think that works pretty good, although I'm going to make one change. Yep, that's the one. That's better. That's an improvement. So, okay. I'm liking that. Now, to do that on the other side, it's one of the hard parts about the roof line is remembering what we did, how we did it for both sides. So stair, 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 and then we start going. We go up for 2. And there we go. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's what we're looking for there. That'll look nice once it oxidizes and turns that bluish green color. That'll blend in really, really well. Really, really well. Okay, so next I'm going to fill in the middle part, the shingles. Actually, you know what, before I do that, I'm going to come over here and do this sort of special roof line that I don't know why I want to punish myself, but I'm going to do it anyway. So what I want to do here is another roof line that sort of then goes back into the main roof line. Yeah, I think that looks good. I think that's good. Yeah, that's going to look so good. All right. All right, let's do that again over here. Oh, that's going to look so good. I'm really excited about that. Okay, so next up, I need to do the shingle part of the roof, and for that, we're going to need some of these deep slate tile slabs, but also a bunch of these deep slate tile stairs. All right, so I think another slab, and then stairs for the next row. Probably gonna need to bring this one up a full block and then throw stairs on top of it. And yes, I get distracted. Oh, goodness gracious. Here we go. Wrap those around. Oh, made it. So you sort of see the idea here is I want to have this roof line sort of feeding into this one over here. I was one short. And so that's a pretty basic roof. You have to imagine it with the green copper instead of the bright orange copper, but in the meantime, it still doesn't look that bad. It looks a little maybe Halloweenish with the orange and black. But yeah, once that turns green, that's going to look the way I want it to. It won't upset me quite as much as this orange does right now, but that's okay. We'll be patient and wait. So yeah, see, that's why I wanted the second roof line. I think it gives it a little bit more flavor, if you will. Maybe I should do that on the other side, but no, it's okay. Basic starter house. We don't need to be too crazy with it. So okay, now for this area, and this area is always a conundrum to me, but I think what I'll do is start with some cobble deep slate and see if that gives us a little bit of continuity. Since we have cobble deep slate down here, maybe we can have cobble deep slate here in the middle. Not terrible. Not terrible. No. We're in the right neighborhood. In the right neighborhood. So maybe. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh, I like. Well, let's see if we can make a change there. I think that is looking pretty good. Still feels like we're missing something. Let's try this. Let's see if this gives us a little bit more character. Oh yes, I'm liking that. Now we're cooking. Look at that. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. Still missing a little something up there. Okay, let's try this. Rain's a little annoying, but that's the reason that I build my house. We don't have to be out in the rain. Okay, let's try this. Boom. I like it. Alright, how about now? Yes. Oh, wait. Still not 100% happy with that top. So, okay, yeah, ingots like this, we'll make a trapdoor. Let's try this. I'm wondering what this is gonna look like with the wall there. Okay. Haha! Whoa! Yeah, a little bit of inspiration there. Hit me right at the last. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, I love it. Okay. Yeah, that's looking good. I'm liking that. Okay. The reason I like walls, mixing those in, is because if you'll notice, they don't fill up the whole block quite like a solid block does. And so again, that's another occasion to give a little bit of depth to the build. Okay, so I think we're looking pretty good so far. Especially the front, super happy with the way that looks. I think what I'm gonna do is come back in, and we'll need to work on that from the inside as well as the outside. But yeah, it's gonna need some more details, but yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction. So what I'm gonna do next is go ahead and add in some glass. And so basically glass, if you're not familiar, you take sand, you put it into a furnace, you cook it, and you get a block of glass. Now you take that block of glass, you can place a block of glass, but it will take up the whole block, and then it will also, be sort of flush with that line, so it'll make a flat surface. So one of the things I like to do, just to mix it up, a couple of reasons, is if we take glass, we put 6 glass blocks there, we get out 16 panes. So especially early game where resources are important and critical and hard to manage, basically you can take 6, turn it into 16, and that's always good math, right? So the reason I wait until the end to add the glass in is because if you misplace it and say, oh no, I meant to put it here, you can't do like a regular block and mine it out. It goes away. So you need Silk Touch to be able to pick up glass after it's been placed down. So, but yes, in my opinion, in most parts of a build, glass panes look a little bit better because they offer that additional depth for the blocks that surround it. We could take flowers and dye the glass, or I could go find the water over there and grab a few squid to get some black ink. But again, I think regular clear glass gives off those early game vibes that I'm really looking for. Oh, and there's another patrol. Hopefully they'll just keep going in that direction, so I don't really feel like dealing with those guys. But even if I don't, I have a house, a nice house. And then maybe another planter box there. Just with no window? What do you think? I like that. I like that. Let's do that. Let's do that again. Let's see. Here, and... Whoops. Right there. Yeah, kind of like that too. Look at that. Maybe more planters over here. Oh yeah, okay. Perfect, wonderful, fantastic, good Minecraft morning. All right, so nearing completion on the outside of the build. Got a couple tweaks that need to be made. Some, maybe some wrinkles that need to be ironed out, if you will. But essentially what I'm going to do now is wrap it up. And so haven't talked about it, but really the last thing we want to do is put a door on the build. And interestingly enough, if we put a wooden door on the build, technically zombies or whatever else could break that door down. So to make it extra secure, we need to use iron to make a door. And I don't have a lot of iron. I haven't even made armor with that iron yet, although maybe we could do that now. Let's see how much we have left. Yeah, probably have enough. But we make an iron door, and to open an iron door, we're going to use some buttons. All right, so the way doors work is they're going to be placed on the side of the block. So if I place it on this block from this side, it will end up here. And if I place it on this block from this side, it will end up here. So you kind of have to know before you place it, okay, well, where's the connection and where do I want the depth? So if I put the door here, that makes a really, to me, flat connection. And on top of that, you can sort of see through the top there. So I don't want to put it there from that side. I want to put it on that same block, but from this side. And if I do that, then what I can do is take these buttons. So the way the button works is it will send a redstone signal into the block that it touches. Okay. Now, redstone signal will do lots of things, including opening doors and gates. However, because this door is not touching this block, it's touching that block, this button here won't work. So what I often do will be to put it on the floor, and then that way I can just walk right out. Okay, now another alternative, instead of the button, is to make a pressure plate. And the way the pressure plate works, it's the same as a button. It'll send a redstone signal into all those blocks that are next to it. However, it only does so when it is stepped on, or when something is thrown on it. But a stone pressure plate requires a little bit of weight, so it will work automatically if I step on it. Now you ask, well, why not put one here and open the door automatically that way? Well, I just don't want, if I end up going away from keyboard, AFK, if I end up going AFK in here in my home, I don't want a zombie or something else to just walk up and go, here's a house, and set off the pressure plate and be able to come in. So you have to be able to press that button to come into the house. It's not a secret lock or mechanism. However, very good deterrent against bad guys. Now, I assume anything in here is healthy and wonderful and nice and friendly, and so I'm okay with having a pressure plate to just run out of there. So with that being said, wow, got the starter house done. I don't know how long this episode's gonna be. I've been building for quite a while now, a little bit of a perfectionist, so yeah, you can sort of see the you can sort of see that I like to have things just the way that I like to have them. Okay, and that is gonna do it. I mean, it's not 100% done. Obviously, I'm gonna tweak it and you know, fix some of the things, but that's it. I mean, what do you think? It's a starter house, a little bit more involved than some people might do with their starter houses, but I'm so excited about this world and the Valley Homestead that I really wanted something nice to look at for you. So thank you for being here with me. Let me know what you think. Is it a W? Is it an L? I don't know. I'm really feeling it, right? I'm feeling the vibes. I'm feeling it. It kind of feels like home. So, yeah, let me know what you think and stay tuned. Get subbed for that next episode. Thanks again. See ya. Bye.